And President John Kowal joins us this week. Welcome back. Good to see you.
It's great to see you again and great to be here again.
Why don't we pick right up on the state budget outlined this week? The governor proposing some additional spending for SUNY schools, but not a sizable amount, about $200 million for operations. Yes, $1.2 billion for capital projects, but that's not enough of an infusion of money from SUNY that really will change the plans that we've been talking about for a week here.
That's correct. It's good to hear that there is going to be some infusion of funds. I don't know the details on it yet. I do know that some of the funds are targeted for state-operated campuses. Us being sponsored by the county puts us in a different situation. In terms of operational funds, in the conversations we've had in meetings with the chancellor, any funding that would potentially come forward would be targeted for workforce development. So that doesn't really help us address our challenges at Clinton.
This was the headline last week. It surprised a lot of people, I think, when it was announced midweek. Of course, Bluff Point has been home to Clinton Community College for more than 50 years. How long has this plan been in the works to relocate to SUNY Plattsburgh?
It's been very recent. Much of it is stimulated by the reality we face with our middle states accreditation status. We are on warning. We're in our second year of warning, and a warning is focused on resources, primarily financial resources, for us to be able to deliver our mission, deliver our academic programs. And the middle states reviewers have cautioned us that they see us as not having sufficient resources to deliver those programs in the long term. The State University of New York Chancellor's Office, they've taken action at SUNY Potsdam. They've taken some action at SUNY Fredonia with cutting programs, and they are also looking at community colleges. And with Clinton Community College, they are aware of our very low enrollment, persistently low enrollment, and our financial challenges. And that's where the idea was floated, relying on and projected, hoped for increases in enrollment wouldn't give us a robust type of evidence to middle states to really show that we could make progress. And they said, you really need to look at reducing cost. And the idea at the time, very early on, was one way you could reduce significant cost is to eliminate the cost of maintaining your facilities by moving your college to SUNY Plattsburgh. So it was very clear that that was the thinking that was happening at SUNY. And so, as a result of that, we had those key conversations, SUNY, central office, the chancellor's office, SUNY Plattsburgh leadership, and came to the collective realization that this was the most robust way, the bold way to move the college forward and keep it sustainable into the future.
Like many other colleges, you've seen a pretty dramatic reduction in enrollment over the past several years. For full-time students, you had about 800 back in 2018, and you're down to about 500 now.
It's part-time, full-time students, and our concurrent enrollment high school students, all of them combined. So that number 800 included all of our students defined as full-time equivalents. The total number of students is probably like 1,200 when you do it as a head count. That number has shrunk in the 5 years I've been here. It's shrunk, as you said, from 800 to a little around 500 now. That 500 number includes about 1/3 of that number is high school students taking courses in high school, getting college credit for it.
You've already mentioned this. You've been under financial stress for some time now, facing about an $850,000 deficit?
Yes, that's our deficit right now. The anticipation is that with our enrollment, and that's because our enrollment is so low, our revenue from tuition isn't giving us the kind of boost we need to really decrease that deficit.
You have 12 buildings on campus, and is it the maintaining of those buildings, the maintenance, the heating, the electricity? Is that where a lot of the cost is?
It's significant. The maintenance of the buildings is a significant portion, and of course, in terms of our total budget, the personnel costs are a significant part of it. So that's where it gets very worrisome in terms of where we are and where we need to be. I see the situation in other colleges, even some community colleges, where significant cuts have been made. The only option now is to cut costs, and cutting maintenance costs, cutting cost of the utilities, all the elements that go into maintaining a full campus is a big potential for reducing our cost.
So the planned move to the SUNY Plattsburgh campus, would you share numerous buildings? Will you have one building dedicated to Clinton Community College?
We are very early in the process, the planning process. Now the conversations are beginning, and even early on, the clear impetus here is that we must maintain our identity as an institution. So moving to the new location at SUNY Plattsburgh, one part is we need a core place that's all our own. Having a building of our own is crucial, and that will happen. Certainly, SUNY is clearly stated that we will get our own building that'll be strictly for Clinton Community College, offices, some classrooms, areas for students, and then there will also be an element will be sharing some other spaces. We're not going to create our own meal plan, our own facilities for athletics. We will engage with SUNY Plattsburgh for the opportunity for our students to utilize the meal, the food services. And then for athletics, certainly we're going to be in serious conversations about finding ways where we can continue with our athletic teams and then find a way to be able to do it as sharing the facilities at SUNY Plattsburgh.
So you plan to keep all your athletic teams, all the athletics?
I feel that is crucial for who we are as an institution.
The goal will be to use Plattsburgh State's facilities, though not keep returning to the campus to use the athletic
exactly.
facilities.
Cost-wise, it would decrease the benefit that we're trying to accrue with this move from a financial perspective.
This is not a merger. You
Absolutely.
are moving to Plattsburgh State, but you are going to remain independent.
Absolutely. We are maintaining our autonomy.
Will you look at any cuts, either in faculty or in academic programs or services?
First of all, academic programs, we're going to retain all our academic programs, retain all our faculty. This is the core of who we are as an institution. But with this move, we are not going to be cutting academic programs unless, as 2 or 3 years go and, 1 or 2 of them has persistently very low enrollment, we have to address that. And that's something Middle States looks at as well. In terms of services, we have to make sure we have all services available to students, ones that we make available now, plus additional ones they'll have access to at SUNY Plattsburgh.
A possibility of a tuition hike for students, or are you going to try to hold the line on that?
I will be, and I have been really insistent all the time I've been president, no tuition hikes. Our tuition at Clinton is the second highest tuition. The highest among community colleges in New York State. Highest is in Nassau County Community College. So, we're at the high end, so that is not going to be increased. In fact, if this model progresses well and we see some increase in enrollment resulting, then we could engage in conversations about reducing the tuition a bit.
You talked about the students possibly being able to use the meal plans, to use the dining facilities. Mm-hmm. What about dormitories? Is it possible that they may actually live on campus if that's more convenient for them?
Yes, certainly that would be advantageous to have that, especially if we try to recruit more from Vermont, New Hampshire, Western New York, try to bring in people from further distances. So. And I'm expecting we're going to have some good, healthy conversations with our colleagues, with our friends at SUNY Plattsburgh to see how we can make this work.
Your beautiful campus on Bluff Point, of course, the former Grand Hotel Champlain, converted into the George Moore Administrative Building. What will happen to the main building there that's had millions of dollars in renovations, and also the new IAM building that went up in 2017?
Because we're sponsored by the county does own the buildings, they own the property, so they will continue to own the buildings and property. And I know Chairman Henry from the legislature did indicate they'd do a feasibility study to see what potentially could be, what those buildings could be converted to. The IAM is particularly unique because it was created for workforce training and for delivering academic programs in mechanical technology and other technologies. We're going to continue conversations with the Chamber of Commerce, with our industry partners, with our institutional partners on how we can move forward with it. My perspective is it really necessitates a consortium to really operate and really manage and maximize its use. Other colleges, some of them bigger colleges, have moved in that direction where they work very closely in a consortium model. It's got tremendous value. It's been, quite honestly, it's been underutilized. The pandemic really, hit us hard in terms of getting industry folks back in to do the training. So we anticipate that, I even think of it potentially as a workforce training center, something that maximizes its use.
I think Gary Douglas with the Chamber raised the possibility or the question, is there an arm of SUNY that could come in and oversee that?
There could be. I mean, SUNY is placed a very high priority on workforce training. The governor has emphasized it, and the chancellor certainly has emphasized it when he visited us last year. I would expect there to be a lot of conversations, and certainly SUNY, I would expect would be part of those conversations.
And so the target date now is the fall of 2025?
Yes, that's the target date. Yes, so we're still in our current location on the Hill for another year, and during this year, especially within the near future, doing the essential planning.
So you and Dr. Yeti will have a lot to talk about over the next several months, a lot of planning, you'll work on long-term plans
yes.
of having the institutions coexist at the same location.
Yes, absolutely.
SUNY Plattsburgh does have the space. This isn't where you're going to be crowding into them. They've also
yes.
seen a drop in enrollment, so they do have space on campus.
Yes, there are some vacant buildings. In a very early conversation between myself and Dr. Yeti, it was, we both realized that, we've both experienced a drop in enrollment. They have, a lot more students than we do, but they still have some vacant buildings, some space that is available. So it's a fortunate circumstance that is the reality. And in a way, we're blessed here in Plattsburgh that we're so close to SUNY Plattsburgh. Other community colleges in New York State that are suffering financial woes don't have that option.
John Kowal, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. It was great to have the conversation, and I certainly appreciate the opportunity.